Hello. Hello, Max and Marina. I'm happy to talk to both of you. I wanted to start this conversation from Max asking you about the company itself and how you came up with the idea. What was your path building the company?
That was an interesting experience because first steps were like I cannot say that with Apple and Steve Jobs in a garage how they started, but that all has been started from one room flat and two persons from core team who are now still with us, and that all started from one contract with our USA partners with whom we are still working. And later we received first contracts from World Bank organization, that's not non-commercial organization. And after that we received more and more contracts from Europe and other countries. Frankly speaking about our main directions, so first of all it's like outsource, classical service business, also out staff and product. We are making now first steps and we'll tell you about a bit later as it's interesting. Speaking about main technologies, I won't list everything because, as always, it's too long. I will just name the main. It's .NET, also Angular, and GIS technologies like ArcGIS, and also JavaScript. It's classical technologies that everyone writes on it.
What do you say that are the most popular projects that your customers work with you on?
We have plenty of different projects, but first of all, I want to tell you that we have a lot of industries, and our main expertise lies in such industries like tech, geese, agriculture, healthcare, finances, and logistics. We are trying to be the experts in every possible spheres as we can. For now, I want to tell you about one project. It is one of my favorite because recently I was a project manager on this project. That's why I know a lot about it. It is the project in edtech industry. It calls TTRS, and it is the educational platform with multisensory courses for the people who has dyslexia. So with the help of this project, they can learn how to type, read, spell all the words in English, and not only in English, because this platform is using in schools like worldwide in USA, Great Britain, Spain, and every possible country which we can remember.
It's a state agrarian register. First of all, that's also the project that we worked in pair with the World Bank and the Ministry of Agrarian Policy and Food. And this project, first of all, its mission was to help farmers to receive grant, credit, or any else help and reduce corruption because 5 years ago that was a huge problem in our country. But for now, that all gone too far from its first strategy, and now some kind of this project is like a spaceship with a lot of functionality and the modules.
It sounds super cool because it seems like you work in different types of industries and like it's required to have a team that understands most of it, if not all of it, just to understand how to build that in even several languages and how to build the whole team of like project managers and tech people. How do you hire people? Is there a specific way of this is like the secret of how you hire professionals to help you with all of the projects?
As we know, there is plenty of difficulties right now because we have a lot of people who trying to get in IT, but yep, because they think that it is quite easy to get here. That's why in our company we created like the company values, and it is quite important for us that the person which we are interviewing will fit with these values. So if you are our people, like our person, we will totally be working with you and we will be happy to work with you. Recently, we started improving our business in way of digitalization. We added like the CRM system. Also, we switched to another messenger, and here we have like the possibilities to digitalize all with bots to help our co-workers to not using like the Google Forms or stuff like this. They just can log into their messenger, get to their bot, and write down their day offs or holidays or whatever they
Mm.
want, and check it how many days they have, and it really helps them, and it is make their lives easier. Also, we keen on bettering our employer branding. So we just recover our social medias. So you can find us in every social media you can, like LinkedIn, Instagram, Facebook. I believe maybe in future TikTok also will be here.
And
Um,
YouTube.
and YouTube, a lot of videos as we starting to record this podcast, maybe podcast more. Who knows? Also, we decided to add the big presentation about our Soft in all the vacancies where potential co-workers can learn and know about the values, about all the stuff they can gain with our company.
Team spirit.
Yes, our team spirits. I think that values it is quite important for us, and we trying to fulfill everything as we can as a company. So the more people will be joining us, and we'll be happy to work in Britisoft.
And I would also add about this value approach that the main point of such approach is that if you take a person who aren't your type of values, you risk to have some problems with effectiveness. Also, it can cause a lot of conflicts because people with different values they are in different how to
Yes,
say it,
they tend.
universe and
Yep.
understanding of this world.
They tend to be on speaking terms a lot, and it causes a lot of conflicts and problems. That's why when you have people with the same values, it is more effective,
Much
less
easier to
stress.
communicate.
Yes, much easier to communicate, and it helps to create really great teams for our projects.
It's always this problem. What is more important, team or processes? Processes and team are important, but um, I think that with the right people, processes is just a matter of time. But
Yeah.
with right processes, but without right people, it's a huge problem
True.
that can
They
go.
just won't work with people with very different
As
values.
I like to say, you can write 1001 rule, but person who is not your values can find
They,
can
they,
find
they won't be applicable for this person.
yes.
Do you work just with people from Ukraine, or it doesn't matter where the people are from for your team?
No, we have some people from other countries, from UK also, and from different cities. It's not only Kiev. The main point for us is just that work doing effective, and that's the main point.
It's not about values even, but maybe
Mentality and time zone.
Mentality, yes,
yeah, the how
culture,
we communicate it, it's completely different.
religion. There is plenty of this stuff that can differ per people. But when you're a professional, it is quite easy for you to fit, especially when you have good soft skills. It doesn't matter what is mentality. Yes, we are all different in a way of professional work. You need to be a professional so you can work with people worldwide, especially right now when most of the work is remote.
And also we adapted to the USA time zone, so it's not
Yep.
a problem.
Right. Talking about your customers and like understanding how do you qualify your customers, what kind of people, what kind of companies would need your service, and how do you maybe like we could talk about just customer profile in general.
First, it's like tenders for non-profit organizations. Like for bank, you say yes, for sure, it's a different approach to for doing such projects. And the second type, it's a commercial client who just need help to code a platform or a mobile application and help them to make MVP or maintenance existing project. For example, when they come to us and saying, "Help, please, our team just I don't know." We had different cases like
Like to better their design or to come up with a new architecture, or when they want to go from the monolith architecture to the microservices. And so we can suggest them the different ways, different tax solutions. So, yep, like mostly we have these two types of finding clients, like tenders and commercial businesses.
We are using also LinkedIn just for networking. You mentioned about industries. Yes, for example, we networking with opinion leaders of edtech industry, just talking about how we can strengthen each other. And sometimes, yes, they say that we have a project and or we need an MVP. Could you help us, please? And also, as I mentioned, there is a second case when this is existing platform and client needs to find a viable team for scaling this project. By the way, we had a funny case with a Canadian business,
Customer.
yes, customer. That was a recommendation, and they asked us to make a code audit to look if everything is works fine.
Again, some recommendations from
Yes,
their
For
code.
the application.
yes,
Yes.
and they gave to all access a zero who only wasn't, I don't know, credit card. So we said to them that guys, don't do such things, never. We just needed admin panel for the first time, and we said change all passwords. Don't do that, because if they find not right company, let's say not with right values, such companies can just steal code or make a harm or something like that. So
Not
it's
only code, but the clients of their platform. So it is quite bad security to give all the access. So it was a really funny case for them because there was contacting us. But maybe you never know.
They wouldn't even think about it. That's very weird that that was just the founder who gave you access. You just didn't have a team or
that
somebody
was a
to tell
whole
you,
whole
please don't do it.
that was a whole team. Yes, they didn't have IT department, but that's okay. I always try to understand different sides, like a helicopter view, because I'm a professional in my sphere. Guys are professionals in their sphere, and they can not know some things that I know, and vice versa.
Do you have a perception of even knowing what kind of mistakes can people make in business or just in general in software industry?
I guess first of all, the main problem is world recession, because what I see now, it's more harder to receive a huge contract. To be sure that, for example, for the next 2 years, we have a contract, we have a team workload, and everything is fine. That's a problem. And the second main problem is people, because it's so easy to find just a person who writes code, but it's so complicated to find the person with leadership skills, just like name it, like soft skills, person who can communicate, offer some ideas. So we have even in our company such strategies that we hire junior specialists and grow them, and making middle and senior team leaders. That the strategy worked. We raised by that approach two good people, and we are proud of them. And also, I guess Marina mentioned it. It's about trainees. Now the problem in Ukraine, what I see, and it really making me sad when I see advertising like become an IT specialist in 2 weeks and
Oh
you
yeah.
will earn $1 million and everything will be fine in your life. And 1 month later, is that more and more people with green status in LinkedIn are open to new opportunities, searching for a job, and that's a big problem in industry. And it it's really making me sad because people are giving their last money, especially in the wartime,
Mhm.
and they hope that they will become good professionals, and they cannot find experience because not so many companies are interested to take trainees and raise them up.
It is also the problem of these courses, like 2 weeks to become a professional. I think it is the whole nonsense because they took money from the person and I don't know, show him that he can be like the 3D designer or write some kind of hello world, and they think that it is way enough for person to pay money and start their career in IT. And a lot of people think that after these courses, they really can get a job like trainee or even juniors. One of my friends, she's going through her courses in QA, and for now it is around 2 years she's studying. So 2 weeks, it is way not enough.
I saw that they also offer a job after that. Like they would guarantee you to get a job. So I don't know how that's happening. It sounds like nonsense if you have common sense to think about it. So maybe desperate people just go for 2 week courses to find a job, but
In Ukraine, we
it's not.
have definitions for such cases. It's called successful success.
I hope that more people can just avoid those traps and not spend their money on that. And the software development people, like tech industries, it requires so much time. And I know several people in Ukraine that are developers, and they just spend years to understand some things or to write a code or to start one project. And I cannot see that happening in 2 weeks. So I get it. It is a big issue. If we can switch to as we're talking about sad things, about like war situation in Ukraine now, and you're still working, you look happy, like everyone that I speak to in Ukraine, because they're trying to maintain that work life balance. Work is work. Sometimes it's you need to go and hide in the shelter, but life is going and we all need to be mindful of that. But how does it reflect on your working environment now and on your team, and how do you support each other?
First of all, I would like to add that people adapted. 1 year ago, that was a real problem, but now what I see, I've been looking for our effectiveness. I just monitor our task manager, and I've seen that, despite war situation, I see that it even grown not so big, but yes, it even became better because people are motivated, they value what they have, and also we are prepared. We have a starring, we have generator, also we have even echo flows and instructions to act in plan A, plan B, plan C. And even our administrative manager, she has all instructions. And if we have an air alarm, everyone knows what to do in such situations.
You have most of your team in the office.
Not totally. We have the hybrid hours remote yet, so people can choose where they want to work from office or from home. Because right now, yep, we are in Kiev, and for example, I'm living on the left side of Kiev, and sometimes when you want to get to office and there is the air alarm, they just shut down the bridge, and I can't even get to the right
Mhm.
side of Kiev.
From one
So
point A to point B.
yes, like plan one, plan B, and that's why our company give people the opportunity to choose whether it will be safer for them to work. And also, we don't have any strict hours of starting and ending your work, so it is up to a person, and we tend to look at their effectiveness, not on the amount of time they spend for their work. So I think that it's quite helpful for them because when you live under the missiles and all the stuff, and even if you adapted to it, it is still a lot of stress, and we adapt to have this stress and fear, and that's why we are trying to give anything which can just refresh this work life balance, if we can use this term in options of war in Ukraine.
Yes, and also like Maryna added about effectiveness, we have our inner slogan. You need to work by your head, but not 24 hours. Yes, and also I would like to add that despite the war situation, we didn't cancel holidays. We, like Marina mentioned, for the work-life balance. We're conducting scheduled one-to-one sessions with our employees just to know how they are, maybe what help do they need, and also just to know if everything is fine. And also we are conducting workshops, team building. So as you said, life continues.
Recently, we decided to add like the mental care program for our co-workers, and we conduct workshops on mental health. I know that not a lot of people want to go to a psychologist, and that's why we are trying to give them possibility to speak on workshops or on these one-to-one sessions, and that's why we added this mental care. So all of our co-workers, they have opportunity to speak to the psychologist, to the right person, if they want. Also, maybe one of good points we are trying to, like, once in 3 months we sharing like the small victories of our company and some strategic plans, so we can show our coworkers what we been through and that we achieved everything we can and we are the best in our field.
Did we have plan?
Yes, that we have plan. And maybe for work life balance, yeah, but we I know that most of our guys need to be in Ukraine, but we're still encouraging them to take holidays and vacations and day offs to resist this stress and have opportunity to be with their families and not to worry about the work.
We don't believe this philosophy about overtiming because, in my opinion, overtiming it's like you're taking a credit from the bank. With some time, you need to put it back and with percents. Sometimes it's necessary, okay, I agree, but after this situation, you also need to rest and recover.
That's great. That's really nice to hear that you all in supporting the team in the mental way as well, because it's very complicated right now. How do you support the country now? Do you participate in any events, or there's a lot of things going on now in Ukraine, not only just donations to the army or like any specific charities, as well as a lot of
Uh,
charity events.
Yeah, we systematically participate in charity activities. So recently, one of them it was like the books auction. Our coworkers can bring their books which they want to give as charity, or books which was written in the Russian language, and give it to the specific bookstore where they can recycle it and create it like another books. Yes, in Ukrainian language. Also, this spring we are planning to make the Blood Donation Day in our company. And recently, yes, on the New Year, we had the team building, and it was team building with donation activity for Ukrainian army, and we had also like the auction with different prizes, and our coworkers win those prizes. And after that, our company doubled this fee and sent it to the Ukrainian army.
That's good. So you're donating as a company, right? Itself
Not
donation.
only,
Not
we have
only.
in inner chat where every day we can just send, for example, that good friend of mine just needs a donation
Yes,
for his.
created like the big donation on something. Like recently, one of my friends they created like the big donation with Lachen, and so I sent it to the company chat, and they have the opportunity to donate. And also our administrative manager, she is very in all this stuff because she donate like every day, yeah, and so not only the big donations, but also very small one for just to buy a car, to buy uh, some stuff for the army. She also can send us like these donations, and we can donate not like company, but from our coworkers
For
if they
her,
want.
if the day was without donation activities, that was a bad day.
Yep, I think yes.
Well, if you can share some links of those, I can also share them on LinkedIn, maybe with the different types of audience from around the world. So maybe that could help
Okay,
It
your
would be
okay.
company.
wonderful. Yes, thank you very much.
There's two things that I want to ask more, thinking that we can sum up the whole conversation. Like we spoke a lot about what are the challenges of the industry and how you support your team. And it seems like it's been great for you despite all of the difficulties in the world. But how do you see the company grows in 5 years, or maybe, I don't know, 10 years? It sounds crazy to ask, but at least like in the next couple of years, do you have a specific plan?
I like the question. It's like on the job interview, like, where do you see yourself 5 years soon?
Yeah.
But okay, in this situation, it's a good question. I agree with you. We have our clear vision to become product integrated company with its own solutions, and we have a roadmap plan with timelines when we want to be there. And we also developing our own products. Our main strategy is to strengthen outsource direction and reinvest costs in our products. And as I mentioned, we have a clear plan how to do it and when we are expecting to be there.
What are your personal achievements as a CEO as you saw the company in the first days and after like 18 years? And you as a company, like being all 3 years, maybe Marina, that's the second part of the question will be to you. When you joined the company, did you see that growing a lot?
I think that the main our achievement is that we saved through all these years our core team because it's not so easy to hold good quality service and a good quality of developed products, projects without the core team because they have their mindset, they have their experience, they were here from the beginning and they know processes from A to B point. Also, I think that a good achievement that we survived during the COVID period, not just survived, but we reformatted. That was a big challenge to digitalize all processes into remote format. I know some companies which were not ready for that kind of situations and they won't survive. For now, it's not a huge achievement, but in past situations, that was a really tough challenge. Also, wartime, especially first year, because we didn't fail any delivery timelines to our customers, despite the fact that Russians bombed our electricity, our energy stations, and we had huge problems when, like, we're working in one cafe. Then, okay, that cafe or restaurant doesn't have electricity, so we are
Moving to another one.
moving to another one, connecting to Starlink and working. And that was stressful. As I mentioned before, now we are ready for that kind of situation. But 1 year before, no, we didn't have such experience, and that was also not easy. And I don't think that it's some kind of achievement, but sometimes clients ask us, what are your strengths if we compare you with your competitors? Everyone can say that we code the best solutions, we have the best service, and so on. But can just every company can say such way. We also have a slogan that we guarantee result, but also the problem is that every company can say that way. So one of our I think strangest points it's that we have, as I mentioned, not only outsource experience. We are not just doing what told to us to do or coding technical tasks that was written. We also recommend some offer solutions because we have this product mindset and we know how to do it even better. It's like I said before, helicopter view. And maybe Marina could also add something.
Uh, yeah, but I came to this company during the COVID, the start of the COVID, and I was working remotely. So I believe that this company gave me like a good opportunity to better, especially in case of COVID and war. And I was working on this TRS project with Great Britain, and was quite stressful because there is a war and missiles are just flying above your heads, and so you still need to deliver the project on time. Yeah, but they everyone were telling like our clients, we support you, it is okay, and all the stuff. But if I'm not mistaken, my team was one of the first in our company who just, I believe, in 1 week after the starting of the war, we start to work again. And it was almost no problems with our communication with the clients. And yeah, for these cafe restaurants, it was quite interesting experience to find all the cafes with Wi-Fi and electricity, and also try to find like a very small room where you can conduct some meetings, and so no one were listening these 100 people all around you, who is also with their laptops and trying to make pass. And I think that yes, it was quite challenging, but it only make us better as a company, better as a team, because everyone was like, "How are you doing? Do you need help? Maybe you need a home or a place just to work or
Our
stuff
clients
like
are
this."
also offered.
Yep, our clients also offers us to go to Great Britain, especially for me and my team, because our client from Great Britain, and
They didn't push me.
yes, it didn't push, but it's really part of our company, our relationship in company, and only strengthen our team. And that's why I'm really proud that I'm in this company, and I just became like the operational manager in this company after working like as a project manager. And I'm very happy that I'm a part of British Software.
Like many people say, yeah, switcher.
Yeah.
I also worked in several companies, and when the war started, I remember that a lot of people from the clients from US and UK, they were like, "Oh, just come to my house. We have a lot of space. Bring your team." I didn't expect that, and it was very nice to see how people from all over the world supported that hard moment for everyone.
That's a problem of our post-Soviet Union mentality, that uh, our people, they always expect some kind of trap scam, and it's unusual that people not asking where is my delivery, when I can expect my product or next sprint. They offer help, they support, and
Mhm.
you in such situations, in such time, you feel like you have a friends, you have a family. That's really valuable.
I agree. Seems like you have the right place to work, and all of the people around you supports the work-life balance, which is very important. Maybe you're hiring now?
I like always say that we are always hiring, because for good people with good values, we will always find the place and the tasks. For example, we are always looking for new developers, because, as I mentioned before, it's not so easy processes. And I don't like to say, I don't want to say the bad word about that we are only hiring A players, only A, like many companies writing, like only
Yeah.
3% of all work. I don't like such definitions, because it's about, some people hire themselves and think that they are better than another. I think that not in every corporate structure needed not only A players, also B players that can, in perspective, grow up to the A player.
It was super nice to talk to you, and very interesting how you approach the team, the building the team in general. And I saw that a lot in Ukrainian companies specifically, but nice to see that you saved the team and you didn't change that much since the war started, and it's very nice to see. So I hope you can find more and more people all over these years to reach your goal. Well, it was a nice conversation. We'll keep in touch then.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. It was a
Yeah,
pleasure.
thank
Thank
you.
you for inviting us.
Yep.